Shabbat Shalom, welcome, welcome. We're glad that you're with us this Shabbat morning, and for those who are joining us for the first time, we hope that you'll join us in prayer, in song, in meditation, as Jenna leads us through our Shabbat worship and our Torah reading and Torah study in the body of our service. If this is your first time joining us, our prayer book opens for what many of you might seem like backwards, but for us is the right direction, and our prayer book opens largely in facing pages. The top right-hand corner is usually our Hebrew prayer. Usually below it is the transliteration, are the English characters usually, and then we have some English translations or some poetry or more literary versions of the same passage, generally speaking. If you don't know where we are, flip ahead one page. We'll announce the page numbers as well. But the goal is in our worship always, not just on this morning, but for us to pray together as a community and to lift our voices in song, to move our bodies so that we know that we are praying together, so that there is some response, some call and response nature to our prayer service as well. And most of all, what we hope is that you'll find a meaningful and a good place in which to express wonder. We have beautiful music planned for this morning, both with Jenna and with Cantor Braun, and we hope not to have anything add to that beautiful music, so we are going to invite you, please, to silence anything that might inadvertently do that. Also, there is no photography in our sanctuary except for the one designated person behind the glass, but other than that, no cell phones in our services, please. We hope that you will join us as we begin our service on page 192 as we give thanks, as we acknowledge this magnificent space in which we find ourselves. We say, Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov, how fair are your tents, O Jacob, page 192.
Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael, va'ani berov hastecha, avo veitecha, eshtecha ve'el heikol kodshecha, be'yiratecha. Adonai ahavti me'o beitecha, umkom mishkan kevodecha, va'ani eshteha ve'ra'a, evrecha lifnei Adonai osi, Adoni tefilati, lecha Adonai et ratzon, Elohim berov hastecha, Aneni be'emet yisheha.
Join us, please, as we continue on page 218 with the singing of Psalm 150. Page 218.
Hallelujah.
page 223 as we continue.
You shall always be praised, great and holy God, our sovereign in heaven and on earth. Songs of praise and psalms of adoration become you, acknowledging your might and your dominion. Yours are strength and sovereignty, sanctity, grandeur, and glory always. We offer our devotion, open our hearts in acclamation. Praise are you, sovereign of wonders, crowded in adoration, delighting in song, eternal majesty. Yikadal v'yikadash shemei Rabbah. Amen. Be'alma divra hirute, be'amlik malhute, be'chayehon uvyomehon, uvhayedekol beit Yisrael. Bagala, bagala, uvizman karib, v'meru, amen. Yehei shmei Rabba mevora, le'al almal me'el ma'ea, yitbara, v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar, v'yitramam, v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar, v'yithalev, v'yithalal, shmei d'kudusha, berehu, le'alam min kol birhata, v'shirata, tushbehata, v'nemata, Damim Ram Be'alma, V'meru, Amen. Please rise and turn to page 226. Baruch Adonai HaMevora, Baruch Adonai HaMevora, Le'olam Va'ed. Praise Adonai, to whom praise is due forever. Praise be Adonai, to whom praise is due, now and forever. In the beginning, even then, a new light was sown for the righteous, a promise that your light would become the catalyst, first for order and then for hope. Author of language and light, help us use words as you have, to cast light into dark waters and draw out justice and truth. Baruch atah Adonai Yotzer Hamarot. Once or twice in a lifetime, a man or woman may choose a radical leaving, having heard, Lech Lecha, go forth. God disturbs us toward our destiny by hard events and by freedom's now urgent voice, which explode and confirm who we are. We don't like leaving, but God loves becoming. Baruch atah Adonai haboher ba'amo Yisrael be'ahava. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem, Kevod Malhuto, Leolam Va'ed. Hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. Blessed is God's glorious majesty forever and ever. Please be seated. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levacha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher Anohi mitzavha Hayom levavecha, v'shinantam levaneha, v'dibartam bam, v'shiftecha b'veitecha, uvlechtecha v'aderech, uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha, uv'sartam leot al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha. Uvtavtam al mezuzot beiteha uvishareha leman tizkeru ve'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'idhem kedoshim leloheihem. Ani Adonai Eloheihem asher hotzeitechem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lahem Elohim Ani Adonai Elohim. We continue responsively on page 239. The eternal truth is that you alone are God and there is none else. Let them beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Let the nation not lift up sword against nation, nor learn war anymore. You shall not hate your brother or your sister in your heart. The stranger that sojourns with you shall be accepted into your people, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt. Why do you crush my people and oppress the poor? Asked God. You know that you turn around and defend the poor and uphold the rights of the needy. Praise to God Most High. Blessed is God who is worthy of blessing. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osei vela, nora tehilot osei vela. Shira chadasha shibahu geulim. L'shimbecha al safat hayam, Yahad kulam hodu v'him lechu v'amru, Adonai imloch, Adonai imloch, le'olam va'ed. Sur Yisrael, kuma be'ezrat Yisrael, uvdei kinumecha v'hoda v'Yisrael, go'alenu Adonai sevaot shemo, Kodush Yisrael, Baruch Atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. Please rise for the tefillah. Adonai sefatai ptita ufi agida hilateha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Velohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Velohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Velohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanorah, El Elyon, Gomel Hasadim Tovim, V'konei Ha'akol, V'zoher Astei Avot V'imahot, Umevi Geula, V'ivnei V'neihem, L'man Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer, U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Ve'ezrat Sarah. Ata gibor le'olam Adonai, mechalei hakol ata, Rav le'oshia, Mashiv harura, umarid hagashem, mechalkel hayim behesed, mechalei hakol berachamim rabim, somech noflim berofecholin, umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato lishenei afar, Mika mocha ba'al geverot, Umido melah, Melech memit umechayem, Umatzmiya Yeshua, L'ne'eman ata l'chachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mehayeh hakol.
נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש קדוש קדוש, אדוני צבאות, מלוך הארץ, כבודו, אדיר אדירנו אדוני, מושיענו והוא ישמיענו מרחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון לדור ודור. הללויה. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך. ולנצחים קדושתך נקדיש, קדושתך נקדיש. ושבחה אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש, לעולם לעולם ועד. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך.
Please be seated. We continue now on page 250.
ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי, שומרי, שומרי שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי, שומרי, שומרי שבת וקורא עונג שבת. מקודש שבי שבת, כולם יצאו ויתן במקדשך שבת. אוי ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי, שומרי, שומרי שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי, שומרי, שומרי שבת וקורא עונג שבת. מהשביעי רצית בו וקידשת שבת. עמדת ימים אתה קראת שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי, שומרי, שומרי שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי, שומרי, שומרי שבת וקורא עונג שבת. זכר למעשה בראשית שבת. זכר למעשה בראשית שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי, שומרי, שומרי שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי, שומרי, שומרי שבת וקורא עונג שבת.
We continue on page 253. We offer thanks, O God, for this Shabbat, which unites us in faith and hope, for Shabbat holiness, which inspires sacred living, for Shabbat memories glowing even in darkness, for Shabbat peace born of friendship and love. We offer thanks and blessing, O God. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. On this holy Shabbat, may we draw nearer to life, to peace, and to joy. May we find true rest, holiness in our deeds, worth in our study of Torah. Let us feed on the love of goodness. Let us drink from the love of goodness. Restrain our thirst for excess, and cleanse our hearts to serve life well. On this holy Shabbat, may we draw nearer in life, in peace, and in joy. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otah levadha navod. We continue with Modim and your responsive Modim, Anach Nuach. for the expanding grandeur of creation, worlds known and unknown, galaxies beyond galaxies, filling us with awe and challenging our imaginations. For this fragile planet Earth, its times and tides, its sunsets and seasons. For the joy of human life, its wonders and surprises, its hopes and achievements. For human community, our common past and future hope, our oneness transcending all separation, our capacity to work for peace and justice in the midst of hostility and oppression. For high hopes and noble causes, for faith without fanaticism, for understanding of views not shared. For all who have labored and suffered for a fairer world, who have lived so that others may live in dignity and freedom. For human liberties and sacred rights, for opportunities to change and grow, to affirm and choose. We pray that we may live not by our fears, but by our hopes, not by our words, but by our deeds. Blessed are you, Adonai, your name is goodness, and you are worthy of thanksgiving. Baruch atah Adonai, havov shimcha ulecha ladot.
Sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, tova ubracha. Sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, tova.
Please pray silently.
We continue now with our Seder Kriyat HaTorah, our service for the reading of Torah. That can be found on page 362 in your prayer book, page 362. At this time, we call up those who have some initial Torah honors. For the passing of the Torah, we call up Arlene Cooper and Jenna's parents, Mara and Gilbert and Jenna, to the bima here. And also we ask to join us at either side of the ark, Elaine and Jack Chan. Terry, we're going to ask you to join us just behind the cantor, along with Elena and Ian as well. So Mahoney family, you're going to join us on the cantor side. Please rise. We have before us, Jenna, the moment that you have been preparing for, and the moment that we wait for each week, as members of our community do each week all over the world, and really in all places where services are being held, which is the continuation of the passing of the Torah. We know that the Torah does us no good if it stays in the Aron, if it stays in the ark. You have been working and studying and learning and thinking about and wrestling with your particular section of the Torah that you have read, as your ancestors have done for hundreds and thousands of years before you. And now you take your place in this chain of tradition, and we know that you will be our next strong link. And we do that by passing it through the generations of your family, through your grandparents and all those that came before this generation, to your parents who have shaped this moment and shaped who and how in part you are, but the rest of the shaping now is with you. And the holding of this Torah, which we know is good and safe in your arms. That crash behind us was no hint for you, no hint. It is meant to be in your arms carefully and lovingly, and at the same time we hold Torah with careful and tender arms and strong arms, that we know it is safe in your care. And we know that you will continue to move Torah forward for us literally and figuratively. And we say, in this scroll is the secret of our people's life from Sinai until now. Its teaching is love and justice, goodness and hope. Freedom is its gift to all who treasure it. And please be seated. Jenna will be reading for us this morning. We continue our studies of the book of Leviticus, and she will be reading for us from Parshat Mitzorah. You will find that we will give you that page number in one moment, but you will find that in your other blue-bound book. And we thought we had the page number right, in your book called the Torah Commentary. And she reads from Leviticus chapter 14, verse 33 and following. We'll give you that page number in one moment, but a consolation prize for anybody who can find it before we do. Tell us again. 754. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
For the first aliyah, we call Arlene Cooper. Yamod, Tamod, Baza Sarabat Liv Sharachel V'Yakov Shalom, Liarishana.
Baruch et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher B'charbanu Mikol Ha'amin V'natan Lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai Notein HaTorah.
Amen.
Vayidaber Adonai el Moshe ve'el Aharon lemor. Ki tavu el eretz Canaan asher ani noten lahem la'guzah benatati negat sarat bevet eretz ahuzahem uva asher lo habayit v'higi lakohen lemor kenega nirali babayit.
Baruch atah Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Natan Lanu Torah Emet V'chayei Olam Nata B'Tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai Notein HaTorah.
Amen. For second aliyah, we call Cheryl Mahani. Tamot Sima Levia Bat Bazil Sarah Yosef Pinchas Layashniya.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'charbanu mikol ha'amin v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai notein HaTorah.
Amen.
V'tiva hakohen ufinu et habayit. B'tam yavo hakohen liro et hanega v'lo yatema kol asher b'bayit v'achar ken yavo hakohen liro et habayit v'ra'a et hanega v'hine hanega v'kirot habayit shekarerot yaraku kod o adam damot umart hen safal min hakir Bayatza hakohen min habayit el patach habayit v'hiskir et habayit shivat yamim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata v'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai notein HaTorah.
Amen. For the third aliyah, we call Juliet Chen. Tamot Yosef Ariba Bat Mara Leah Yehuda Abraham Leah Shlishit.
Baruch Baruch Adonai Hamborach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
V'shav HaKohen bayom hashvi'i v'ra v'hinei pasah ha'nega bekirot habayit. V'tiva HaKohen v'hiltzu et avanim asher bahen ha'nega v'hishlihu et hen el mehutz la'ir el mekom tamei. Et habayit yaksiem ibayit saviv v'shavhu et afar asher hiksu el mechutz la'ir el makom tamei.
Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch Ata Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. For our fourth Yabiko, your parents, Mara and Gilbert Chen, Yamdu, Mara Lebat Bazia Sarah, Yosef Pinchas, Yehuda ben Abraham, the Yaravit.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
V'lachu avani maherod v'hiviu el tahat ha'avanim v'afar acher yikach betach et habayit v'im yashuv hanega ufarach babayit acher hilegs et ha'avanim v'harei hitzot et habayit v'harei hitoach Uvahakohen v'ra v'hinei pasah hanega babayit sarat mam'eret hi babayit tamehu.
Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah temet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch Ata Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. For our fifth Aliyah, we call our special bat mitzvah, Jenna Chen. Tamot, Yaakov Adina bat Maraleya, Yehuda Abraham, Habachura bat mitzvah.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
V'natat et habayit et avanav ve'et sav ve'et kolfar habayit v'hotzi el mehutz la'ir el mekom tamei v'haba el habayit kol yamei hiskir oto yidma ad ha'aret v'hashohev babayit yekabes et begadav v'hashohel babayit yekabes et begadav. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam naftam b'tochenu. Baruch Ata Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Your Torah portion,
Mitzvah.
Mitzorah, not an easy one. Not an easy one in the Hebrew and not an easy one in the English. Speaking, you're going to share more with us in a little while, speaking about what happens when a home is infected and how the high priests, the Kohanim, dealt with that at that time and how involved and how problematic it was and what had to be cleaned and washed and gotten rid of. And you're very lucky, I hope, I pray, to not live in a house anything like that. Right? The house that you live in is loving and warm and beautiful and caring. And we learn from this Torah portion how they dealt with homes and people who were infected and who were afflicted with something. And we know that the center of Jewish life really happens in the home. And the blessing that your parents are going to give you now is a small reflection of the strength and the love that's found in your home.
On more than one occasion, your mother or I have found ourselves saying, "She's Jenna," in response to something you've done, followed by the other one of us nodding or smiling in agreement. It might have been finding you spinning around in circles at age 2 because you were trying to see the Sesame Street picture on the back of your jacket, or finding several pairs of dirty socks stuffed under a cushion of the couch because you were too busy to put them in the laundry when you took them off. While it sometimes sounds like the punchline in a sitcom accompanied by a laugh track, is really so much more. From your unexpected early appearance 13 years ago on my birthday, you have always been full of surprises and brought much joy to our family. As our second child, you spent your fair share of time accompanying us on errands or as we drove your sister to school and activities. At home, you played the games that Julia and her friends thought up. For a while, you seemed to enjoy that familiar routine. At the same time, though, it was clear that you were taking it all in, figuring out how the world worked and how you fit in. Over time, you have developed a variety of your own interests that are a unique reflection of your personality. In these interests, we can see your curiosity, like creating a science fair project about how to clean your pennies. We can see your creativity in your artwork and videos. We can see your problem-solving ability and can-do attitude, like when you got tired of waiting for us to teach you to ride your bike or tie your shoes, and you figured it out on your own. We can see you taking advantage of opportunities to try new things, sometimes beyond your comfort zone, like with your viola playing. We can see your confidence grow as you have shown in preparing for and leading today's service. And throughout all of these things, we see you as a kind, caring, and thoughtful friend. We found this Dr. Seuss quote that seems to describe you perfectly. Today you are you, that is truer than true. There is no one alive who is youer than you. Congratulations on today. We know how hard you have worked and have enjoyed our front row seat. And for the future, our best advice is to just keep dancing, keep being you, being Jenna. We think that all the great qualities that you have displayed until now will keep serving you well. Your enthusiasm is infectious, and we know that we will be saying proudly, "She's Jenna, she's Jenna," many more times in the years to come.
When your dad said infectious, he didn't mean the kind of infectious that we find in this portion. He meant the good kind of infectious we know, and that's also what we pray for you. We prepare now to lift the Torah as we redress it as well. For the lifting of the Torah, we invite David Snyderman to join us on the bima. For holding the Torah, we ask Keith Laffer to join us, and for redressing the Torah, Vicky and Eric. And we invite you, please, to rise.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Please be seated. Jenna continues with us with her companion to her Torah portion, her Haftarah portion, that is found in the book of 2 Kings. She reads for us from chapter 7, verses 3 and following. You'll find that in your other blue-bound book, your Torah commentary on page 765. She'll begin first with the blessing before.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar binviim tovim veratza v'direhem hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai haboher b'Torah u'Moshe avdo Yisrael amo v'nviei ha'emet v'tzedek ve'arba anashim hayu mitzrayim petach hashar v'yamru ish el ra'ehu ma anaknu yoshvim po admatnu Imamarnu navo ha'ir v'arav ba'ir v'amarnu sham v'im yashuvnu fo v'amarnu ve'ata lehu v'niplai el mahanei aram im yahayunu nichyei ve'im yamitunu v'amarnu v'yakumu v'neshev lavo el mahane aram v'yavo'u haketzeh mahane aram v'hein ein sham ish v'Adonai hishmiya et mahane aram kol rehev kol sus kol hayel gadol vayomru ish el ahiv hine sakar aleinu melch Yisrael et machlachei hahitim ve'et malchei mitzrayim lavo aleinu Vayakumu, Vayanusu, Vaneshev, Vayazavu Oholehem, Vet Susehem, Vet Hamorehem, Hamahane Kasher He, Vayanusu El Nafsham. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam sur kol halamim zadik bechol hadorot ha'el ha'ne'eman ha'omer ve'oseh hamdaber umkayem sekol devrarav emet v'tzedek al haTorah ve'al havodah ve'al hani'ivim ve'al yom hasheba hazeh Shanata talanu Adonai Eloheinu likdusha v'limenucha likavod u'oltifaret al hakol Adonai Eloheinu anaknu modim lach umar varhim otach yitbarak shimha befi kol hai tamid le'olam ba'ed Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-Shabbat.
Amen.
And now you can exhale. And now you can look. Maybe you can't. No, it can't leave. It's a family trait, right? It is a time for you to look into the congregation, as we are blessed each week to look into the congregation and see smiling faces. Maybe what you can't see because she's facing you is the talit, the beautiful talit that she made, and the heart that is on the back, and you'll get a chance maybe at the end of the service to see it, but it is a magnificent heart with hands holding each side and supporting and caring for that heart that is on the back of her talit. It is a beautiful, beautiful piece of art that Jenna created with the assistance of Mrs. Krause, but it is the values that it speaks that really puts the framing around what we hope is going to be a day that is held in your heart and held warmly by the hands of all those that are in this congregation today, and so amazingly proud of what you have done and what you are yet to do. The Torah portion that you read rests in the scrolls. We at this time prepare to return those scrolls to the ark as we ask to join us on the bima to open the ark, Evan and Ryan at this time. And we also ask you please to turn to page 374 and to rise. Thank you. Please be seated. Jenna at this time shares with us her thoughts, her reflections on her Torah portion and her Haftarah as well.
This week's portion, Metzorah, from the book of Leviticus, deals with ritual purity and impurity. Detailed instructions are given which enable the people of Israel to enjoy a close, ongoing relationship with God. In the verses I read today, it is explained what happens when a house becomes diseased. If the owner of a house thinks that their house has become impure, they have to clear the house out and tell the priest that they suspect that something like the plague has appeared on their house. The priest will then arrive to examine the house. If there are greenish reddish streaks, the priest will say that the house must be closed for 7 days. On the 7th day, the priest checks to see if the streaks have spread. If the streaks have spread, the stones with the plague need to be removed and replaced. If the plague continues to spread, the house is torn down. If the plague has not spread, the priest does a ritual and the house is once again pure. The Haftorah for this portion from 2 Kings is a story about 4 men with leprosy. In the story, the men decide to go to the enemy camp in hopes of finding food due to a famine in the area. The men find the enemy camp deserted, so they take what they want. They feel guilty, so they tell the king what they found. The king thinks that the men are tricking him, so he sends his men to the camp to find the reports to be true. The obvious connection between the Haftorah and Torah is that the Torah portion addresses the ritual for purifying a person with leprosy, and the Haftorah portion tells about 4 men with leprosy. In another connection, the owner of the afflicted house needs to go to the priest to say he suspects something on his house, but the priest has to confirm. The lesson from this might be to carefully discover the truth rather than jumping to conclusions. The same lesson is taught in the Haftorah when the king's advisor doubts the prophet who predicts that they would find food during the famine. The advisor does not take the time to uncover what is really going on, and he is later punished. The advice to not jump to conclusions is appropriate to our times. I have also been thinking about the various reasons that people have to leave their homes, like people did after finding disease in their homes. Sometimes they have to leave because of money or family issues. Other times it's because of disasters, such as fires, hurricanes, tornadoes, or floods. Sometimes it is because of wars and political reasons. Sometimes they are able to go back to their homes, and sometimes they need to start over, possibly in a new home or new city or new country. It is easier to help when you learn about the people and what they need rather than jumping to conclusions. I have tried to show this idea on my talit by painting two hands making a heart to represent love and bringing people together in the community and in the world. With my family at temple and at school, and with my Girl Scout troop, I have tried to help others who may be facing difficult times by donating items to organizations like RAIN and the Brighton Food Cover. I have also volunteered at FoodLink and the YWCA. To continue to show my responsibility for helping people, I am going to choose a mitzvah project that builds on these themes. Thank you to everyone who has come to support me today. It means a lot to have my friends and family here. I would like to thank my parents for bringing me to Hebrew school and my tutoring lessons, and my sister Julia for helping me with my Hebrew. Thank you to Mr. Adar and all my teachers at Temple Sinai for helping me learn prayers and teaching me about what it means to be Jewish. Thank you to Mrs. Krause for helping me with my talit. Thank you, Mrs. Goldenberg, for teaching me to chant my Torah portion. And thank you, Rabbi Till and Cantor Braun, for helping me prepare for today. Shabbat Shalom.
It is my pleasure at this time to invite a member of our board to join us, Barbara Snyderman, who will present to you some gifts on behalf of the congregation.
It gives me great pleasure to be among the first to wish you Mazel Tov on becoming a bat mitzvah this morning. On behalf of the Board of Trustees and the entire congregation, I offer you our congratulations. As a longtime friend of your parents, I've had the pleasure of watching you grow into the strong young woman who stands before us this morning. I know I can depend on you as a reliable source for our annual Girl Scout cookie order. I know you are an accomplished viola player, and you also enjoy Fortnite with your friends. Jenna, you led us beautifully in prayer and chanting your Torah portion this morning, and we are very proud of you. I have some gifts for you, which include a certificate that states that you have become a bat mitzvah here at Temple Sinai today, a $250 gift certificate from Nifty toward a future teen trip to Israel, a certificate providing a grant from the Farish Institute for Jewish Education to participate in a future teen Israel trip, a certificate from the JCC for a complimentary one-year membership for yourself, a certificate for the Jewish Federation of Greater Rochester's Gift of Israel program. Please contact the Federation for more details on your funding. And from our congregation, a Kiddush cup, which we hope will bring memories of this important day whenever you use the cup for Shabbat and Jewish holidays in the future. I also present the book, Torah, a Modern Commentary, that we hope will be a source of continued Jewish learning in the years ahead. Congratulations.
Today we celebrate Shabbat, and we do each week, and we're thankful to have you join us if this is your first time or if you are a regular attender. And we celebrate Jenna's becoming a bat mitzvah and offer our mazel tov to her family. And we also celebrate Shabbat HaGadol, the great Sabbath that is noted as the time in Egypt that Israel celebrated the very first Shabbat HaGadol on the 10th of the Hebrew month Nisan, 5 days before their actual redemption. We are told that on that day, the children of Israel were given their first commandment, which applied only to Shabbat, but not to future generations. It read, on the 10th day of this month, each man should take a lamb for the household, a lamb for each home. This is our season. This is Passover and upon us, and this is when we first hear some of the teachings around Passover. It's the custom in some synagogues, to observe Shabbat Hagadol by reciting special hymns during the morning service around the themes of the laws of Passover, a kind of warm-up for us, which are intended to make it easier for people to become acquainted with the upcoming laws of Passover. In some Sephardic communities, it is customary, when greeting one another on Shabbat, to add the title of this particular Shabbat and to say, Shabbat Hagadol Mivarach, a blessed Shabbat Hagadol is what we wish you. And it is also the custom to give a lengthier sermon right before Passover on this Shabbat Hagadol. So of all of those, my choice, and I'm sure yours, let's honor the Sephardic tradition and I'll wish you Shabbat Hagadol Mevorach, a blessed Shabbat Hagadol, and spare you the lengthy sermon. As we read from the book of Leviticus, the portion that you just read for us, Mitzorah, you noted, and we remember from last week as well, the reading of Tazria, these two portions are often read together and cover in great detail, as we know, skin afflictions and afflictions of the home and how the Kohanim, the high priests, dealt with it. We learn how a community dealt with what they thought were contagions or things that rendered people unfit or spaces unfit to be part of temple service. Jenna, you struggled, and last week David also struggled to find the contemporary meaning, and each of you did a yeoman's job of ultimately finding that, because to today's ears, their techniques in biblical times might sound harsh or unkind, and since the destruction of the temple, perhaps even dated and immaterial for us. But in fact, as you let us know, Jenna, there is so much for us to learn when we take a closer read of Mitzorah. So on this Shabbat Hagadol, as we intently and intensively move toward Passover this time next week, a festival that seems to situate so much of our spiritual lives in the acts of cleaning and cooking, but twinned with the retelling of the tale of exile and redemption, release and restoration, memory and migration, estrangement and compassion for the stranger. Rabbi Friedman Cole tries to make meaning of this reading and this season by suggesting that rather than seeing the physical as oppositional to the spiritual, that we actually embrace the physical as rungs of a ladder. For Abraham, Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel wrote, "By doing the finite, one may perceive the infinite." We experience life in our bodily form. And this Torah portion, he suggests, is about structuring and actually spiritualizing our bodily experiences, in particular skin eruptions, not something that we so often like to think about or talk about, and the homes in which we live through a process, and here is his point, of separation and restoration. A kind of mini exile followed by rituals of release and restoration. The Torah, our scriptural reading, seeks to use the body and the home as an actual pathway to the transcendent. So when we pause to think about how much time we as a community dedicate, and you, Jenna, have dedicated to studying and learning and praying, how much we value deep thought and consideration of our sacred texts and practices, this portion reminds us really of our very physical selves, of our physical spaces, and to pay attention to our physical selves, to see how we can be sure to both care for and have them cared for, to enable us to engage in the sacred. If the high priests had just let things be, David, either in your portion last week or Jenna, your portion this week, the people in the community wouldn't have been able to do what God was hoping for them to do. So this Torah portion is hyper-focused on what to do with an infected body part, an infected or afflicted home. And along with our approach to Passover, which requires for many of us innumerable changes to our homes and our diets for the week, It offers us an opportunity to consider how separating ourselves from the everyday can in fact restore us, how it can remind us of our past, of our ancestors' release, and the challenge to find and make meaningful connection to it, to God, to our community, by what we don't, what we won't, or what we can't do for 1 week. For as Abraham Joshua Heschel wrote, by doing the finite one may perceive the infinite. Jenna, you reminded us of that today. You took one of the most difficult Torah portions to understand and unpack and process and make meaning, and you gave us an opportunity to imagine the infinite, what we could better do, how we could better be a part of community, and how in your work in the community we can give back, whether it is to those who feel isolated or to those who self-isolate, how we might reach out and bring them back and make our spaces and our places for the sacred. And we thank you. We invite you back up onto the bima at this time to offer God's blessing to you. May God bless you and may God keep you. May God's face shine unto you and may God be tender and gracious with you. May you know God's fullness in all that you do. May you be blessed with a sense of wholeness and of peace as we all together join in saying, Amen. Shechianu, the words we just shared, thank God for allowing us to reach this season and for sustaining us to celebrate, to be in community, to be in joy. Join us, please, as we turn to our concluding prayers, page 586, as we turn to the Elenu, and if able, we ask you please to rise. Pause now as we do each Shabbat to remember those, our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who may have died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. Those lost in the last 30 days include Florence Sporn, wife of Leon Sporn, and Marion Silton, mother of Reba Siltera. This Shabbat marks a yahrzeit, an anniversary of passing for Leonard Baker, Catherine Bancroft, Shirley Brownstein, Charles Bullard, Marvin Demchek, Frida Feldman, Joan Finegood, David Friedman, Pearl Goldenberg, Feivel Gervek, Helen Hill, Esther Mutnick, Robert Oster, Annalise Rayburn, Jody Reif, Malvin Ring, Paul Roel, Earl Scheller, Norman Schenker, Henry Schlossberg, Richard Schoenfeld, Beryl Waldman, Dorothy Burke Waltzer, Sharon Wexler, and Zipporah Zeidel. If there are others that you would add to either list or names better shared aloud by you, please would you share that name as I look your way. Zichronam Livracha, may their memories be for a blessing as we join together on page 598 for the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash me Rabbah, be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'vyomechon u'v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kari v'imru amen. Yehesh me Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'mei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kudesha b'richu. Leila mikol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to all who are mourning, to all Israel, as we join together in saying, Amen.
Amen.
Please be seated. We share just a few brief announcements with you this morning. We want to offer a mazel tov first and foremost to the Chan family on Jenna's becoming a bat mitzvah. We want to thank all of you who had honors in today's service as well. We want to remind you that there is no religious school tomorrow and I see you people back there. I see your hands up. And there is no adult ed either, but we look forward to seeing you back after school break. Passover begins Friday night. We have no Friday night service this upcoming week and hope that you have place for Seder. If not, please let the office know. Saturday morning, a week from today, we have our Shabbat morning service for Passover with Temple Bat Brith Kodesh. They will be joining us here at Temple Sinai. That's a 10:30 service. Please be sure to join us. We want to remind you, if you are interested in joining either the Social Action Committee or the Israel Shabbat Choir, for the choir, please contact Cantor Braun. For the Social Action Committee, please be in touch with the office. And if you've not yet gotten your postcard for our Borscht Belt Bash on Sunday evening, April 28th at 5:30, please check our website or be in touch with the office. We hope you'll join us for what promises to be a wonderful golden era Catskill-like evening here at Temple on the 28th. Any other announcements, any joys, any successes, any news that we should know about from you? Anybody have a birthday in the month of April? Happy birthday. Anybody have an anniversary in the month of April? Happy anniversary. Happy anniversary. Well, we hope that you will join us following services in the social hall just behind us to continue celebration and the observance of Shabbat. And please be sure along the way to introduce yourself. If you've not yet met somebody, reach out and share your name as well. We will go now to Kiddush and Motzi. We'll invite the 4 Chan members of the Chan family to join us. We raise the cup in thanksgiving, and we say the blessing, Kiddush. Amen. And we talked about all the things that sustain Jenna as a daughter, as a sister, as a granddaughter, as a niece, and as a friend. We also give thanks for that which sustains our very bodies that we also talk about in this Torah portion. We give thanks for that which comes from the earth. Please join us in Motzi. Motzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Join us, please, if you will. Our closing song can be found in your prayer book on page 657, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Please rise for our closing benediction. The words we just shared and were singing together say to us, peace will surely come to us, to everyone. Shalom, salam, for us and for the entire world, and to which we all of us can say, Amen.
Amen.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Gilbert, here, this is
Oh, okay.
one thing. Oh, I know it was last night.
Thank you. Thank you. Is it just I'll get it
Whatever you guys decide is fine.
She's just, I don't know if she did not practice at my house in front of me at all.
Unless she was worried about me. So she whispered about you. Good job. Twice the turn. You too.
That's something. It's really, really something. No, that's okay. To the extent that I can. So the raised area. The scrolls is the ark. And sometimes that's really in sculpted. Sometimes they can be big, like the one I have for the furniture. Taurus, and then they have rotations, and then it's rabbi and
Yeah, so that's you know, the Torah is the actual scroll. So the Torah in the Christian faith basically is just the Old Testament, right? The first 5 books of the Bible. And then for Jews, there is no New Testament because that's all Jesus and that stuff. So that's for those guys. But for us, this is the Torah. This is the Bible. And so it's just all written out on the scrolls. So yeah. No, it's really, it's a wonderful ceremony. Like coming because Ben went to one, because he didn't go through a bar mitzvah. Basically, he didn't even choose to. Right? I mean, Deb and I, neither of us are terribly religious. And so we kind of left it up to the kids, like, if one of them wants to go through this, or become Christian, which was how Deb was raised, then that's fine. And we'll kind of support them if they do. And then I had no real interest, which was fine. But Molly was unequivocal. She absolutely knew. And this is, 3 years ago at this point, 4 years ago.
I was going to ask you about the shipping kind of showing this picture. It seems to be a journey,
Absolutely. The thing is, it does vary. The kids in her Hebrew school class, her religious school, they'd all been going since they were either in kindergarten or first grade, right? Molly started in whatever, 4th grade or 5th grade, right? Much later, and because she said, you guys need to get me into a temple and into the thing and train me for my bar mitzvah. And we're like, okay, you got it. And so we did, and so all the kids in our class were like, you chose to be here? You wanted to come She's like, yeah. They're like,
so she goes to the one on the okay, got it.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
No, it's really fun. Yeah, and you guys, hopefully we'll be able to come to that. And,
I would love to.
Yeah.
I mean,
you'll see.
No pressure. If it is only kids, it's kids, but it's beautiful.
Oh, no. It's plenty of room. We'll have, here, we should go and actually eat.
Yeah.
I'm actually not so much hungry as I am.
He went to a work